What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Friends of Mortgage Heroes. Happy New Year, happy 2025, and we are joined today by a great hero, by a great person of this community. He's a girl dad, he's a firefighter chief, and he's also a property management company owner. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Richard Brocchini.
Yeah, I think that's Chinese.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. And we're back.
Here we go. It feels so good. I mean, Rich, I can't thank you enough for being a part of this with us. You know, it's what a way to start the new year. You know, it's just awesome. And we just go way back. Yes. Like we're talking about, we are going back. Like this is just for a lot of our friends. And I know you guys watch us still, you know, it's, I've known him since the mid-90s.
Yeah, long time.
I mean, used to have a band. You're just the guy that does everything.
I like to have fun life.
We sure do, you know. And again, I can't thank you enough. You're such an inspiration, bro. I saw you going from a band. You were out there just making it happen with Impacto, you know. I remember having a CD. I think I just, out of all these moves, I lost it. I don't know where. But anyhow, you're an inspiration, brother. You inspired me. And you inspire a lot of entrepreneurs. Not only do you hold a chief position, you know, in the fire department, and you've done that for I don't know how many years.
30 years now.
Whoa, I can't even say that because you still look like you're 30, you know?
Thank you.
But you've done that. You've done coffee. You've written books. I mean, what don't you do?
Yeah, those are some kind words. I appreciate that. You know, they say if you spot it, you got it. And I can certainly say the same thing about all of you here today.
I thank you.
So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. And I've always appreciated your heart and how you show up in life. So I'm grateful to be here. It's humbling to hear you say those nice words about me. And I'm hoping to add some value today about property management and anything else we want to talk about.
That's awesome. I know. That's crazy. Now you're in property management, all related to the real estate world. I mean, this guy wasn't even born when we knew each other.
You guys said back in the mid-90s, and I'm just like, I digress like, wow.
But that's just super dope to see all these things. And now we're in property management, and here we are giving value to our clients. And that's what we're just all about. You're always just giving back to the community. You know, so tell us a little bit about your property management. What I'm just really interested is I see the logo, Property 333 Management. How does that come from, or who came up with it? What does it stand for?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we got into property management with the mindset of how we treat people in the fire service with kindness and love and compassion and integrity to provide good service is the same thing that we are doing now in our property management company. And I have a business partner, Barrick Hunter. He's not here today. He's at another meeting. And so part of this journey for us in property management is to make sure that people knew that we were firefighters. And it's important to us, and we hope it's important to them because it showcases how we give and how we show up for them when we serve them, from our owners to our tenants and our vendors and everybody else that are stakeholders that we work with and you know, collaborate with. And so the 33 came up, basically, they came from a book. It's called Relentless.
Oh.
If you've read that book. So Tim Grover. And sometimes people think it's a fire station number, but actually it's not. So it's Kobe Bryant's old number. We couldn't use 24 because it was taken. And so Kobe Bryant was what you call a cleaner, basically.
Nice.
And you never stop. It's a good book. I recommend it to everybody, called Relentless by Tim Grover. And so that's where it initially came from. And then the symbol itself is a Maltese cross, and that comes from the fire department. Something unique about that is not a lot of people could recognize that or understood that when they see our website or our card. And so what we've done, in fact, man, I was just showing you earlier, is that we launched our new website yesterday, and it's a little bit more fire-ish, if I can say that, and so people can really understand that we are a firefighter-owned and operated company.
And you know, and that's very remarkable the way that you take that approach because of the fact that you're bringing on the values that you took out there, out in the field, and you're literally fighting these fires without no, how do I say it? You're putting your life out there, and you don't have to do that, but it's a choice that you've made because one, it's your duty to do that, but again, you must care at some level so much because you're doing it for a bigger reason than just yourself. And I think that approach that you took into business is a perfect segue into growing that and flourishing it.
That's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, it's with a lot of gratitude I've been able to be work in the fire department and promote up to a chief position and serve people and get paid to serve people and help them in their time of need is something that's been incredibly fulfilling. And so I'm transitioning out of the fire service.
Yeah.
I mentioned 30 years. And so I'm going to be more of just full-time in property management and focus on that, but still with the same mindset and still, with a servant's heart in property management that I think is so very needed right now in this space.
Well, you bringing that up, it's just, it's just wild in the irony of it that we're currently having fires here in Chula Vista.
Yeah.
You know, and when I talked to you and you called me this morning, you're like, hey, how's it going? And you were just telling me like, I wanted to see how's it going for you. Yeah. And you're out there like, no, we were in the helicopter. We're out there trying to put this thing off. And I'm like trying to give you a segue out, but you're like, no, I got to go give back to my community. I got to go do this because that's who I am. That's what I represent is my fiduciary duties. Got to go out there and protect my community. And here you are now giving back to the community. Yeah. So I appreciate that, man. No, that's awesome.
I'll build on that. I felt even honored when I texted Will in the morning. I was like, hey, is our guy going to be here? Are you sure he wasn't all night like patrolling? Like, I'm pretty sure everyone got the call. And as we got here, they're like, I get a call. I'm on my way here. Like, he's already here. Rich is here. Like, where you at? We're getting ready to start. And honestly, like, I mean, big props to you. Thank you so much for, being here and just being able to share, what's happening out there, man.
Yeah, you bet.
So
thank you.
Give us a little insight. What is happening? How did it occur? I know yesterday we were here like around 2 p.m. We walk outside and it was just a cloud.
Yeah, a couple things with that is thank you, first of all. And it's awesome because they say birds of a feather flock together. And all of you here at Mortgage Heroes are the same way. You show up for your clients. It's all about service and adding value. And that's why you're so successful in this company. And I'm very grateful to, refer clients to you. You work with some of my clients and to work together and integrate service to make sure you add value, not just for the short term, but for the long term. So I could echo the same thing about what you guys do here. And it's outstanding. So, Will, with you and everybody's leadership here, it's pretty awesome. In terms of the fire stuff, all that's still under investigation, but I can tell you this much. The firefighters are working super hard. They've been out there for a long time, 36 hours plus, and they're still out there fighting the fire. And so, all those firefighters on the ground and in the air, they're serving with a servant's heart and they're working hard.
Wow. Yeah. So this is not a 9 to 5, right? These guys, you just mentioned 36 hours.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about these guys get tired.
Yeah.
And they're just out there putting their lives in front of to make sure they're protecting everyone else.
Yeah, they are.
That's
absolutely
wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rich, let's bring it back to, your business. What was your motivation behind, being in 30 years in the firefighter department and then branching out to property management and into the real estate world?
Yeah,
2 different spectrums.
It's a great question. It seems like 2 different spectrums, but at the same time, it's about service.
Yes.
And so I think we're in the business of serving, and you all are, so in a sense, your own firefighters. You're serving the community, and so for me, I've been in real estate for 20 plus years. And I'm a broker. You have to be a broker in order to do property management. And my business partner is a broker as well. And so I knew I was going to transition out of the fire service. I was always been into real estate. I've had my own rental properties and so forth, and it was time. And so 2 years ago, I said, hey, it's time to do this and start this business and grow as I personally transition out of the fire service, and my business partner is going to do the same thing here shortly. And so it was just time to create this company, and we did things a little bit different probably than other folks.
Sure,
we created, in the fire service, being chief officers, we're all about programs and services, efficiency, effectiveness, all those kinds of things. And so it was pretty funny. We built this company on the back end, and it took us about 6 months to build it. And we had all these things in place, systems and programs and tech and all these things, and then we looked at each other and said, we don't have any clients.
Hey, we did it backwards, man.
And usually people start helping out or doing something, and they start to grow, and they go, I could do this for a living kind of thing. And we did it backwards. And so we weren't really forward facing for probably about 9 months after we built the company. Wow. And then we got our first client, and then after that, it's been going really, really well. And it's just been all referral. We haven't even advertised yet. And so it was about transitioning out of the fire service, continuing to have a purpose in life, and doing that where you affect people's lives in a positive way. And it's not just about owners for us. It's about tenants, residents. So that was important to us, is like, how are we going to, what kind of properties are we going to manage where our mom, our family would live? How are we going to take care of maintenance where our mom, our family will live, and so forth? And those kinds of things, where this whole team approach, like we do in the fire service.
Yeah.
We do that with our respective team as well. So it's fun because it's always something different. It's a lot of work. Some people think it's easy, but property management is an awful lot of work. And it's about systems, and it's about getting injects and then dealing with those and being professional and being kind about that. And so there's a lot of similarities that we can parlay from the fire service. Yeah. And everybody is family, and everybody's treated with kindness and love, and it's really fun, actually.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. And you did bring up a point of your kindness and love. How does that I get it that you bring in that from the being chief at the fire department, but how do you bring that into your business?
Yeah, I think it's because that's what we've been doing for our whole lives, right? We've been living a life of service, and it's really unique in the fire service. There is no judgment.
Yeah.
We show up to serve everybody, no matter what or how or when or any of those things, right? And it's such a cool occupation to be able to show up and say, hey, I got you. We're going to take care of you.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to help you. And then do that. And so it just, we parlay that life of service.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we show up in life all the time, professionally and personally. And we're not perfect people. Don't let me fool you, that kind of stuff. But, we parlay that into our property management company. And I can certainly tell you, it's unique to any other property management company here in San Diego or Riverside where we...
Well, it's been founded by, by firemen. I mean, that's you and your partner. I think that's a great thing. I've never even heard of that. You normally hear just people coming out and putting their own property management because they were dealing with real estate, but yours is a lot more unique.
It is, and Barrick also is a chief officer for another fire department. So we both bring that, and it is unique. And, we are proud of that because people have trusted us with their lives and their property. In terms of, protecting it. And now they can trust us with their asset and their properties and so forth. And we take it very, very seriously.
Of course.
Yeah.
You're putting out fires.
Yeah.
How would you not put out that fire in their home to make sure that that's their safeguard, that's their investment? Yeah. For some people, that's all they have.
Yeah.
And, making sure that you have a partner that has the same mindset and it's like that extra layer of protection, and so definitely. It just feels freaking good.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then we know some of the building codes and so forth. So we know, hey, you got to get a professional for that. You can't do a handyman.
Can't cut costs there.
Yeah. So it's an added benefit for us.
So how did you come up with it? Was it just like you're in bed and just, hey, let's go do a property management?
I've always wanted to get into property management, and I had an idea. We all visualize the things we're going to do, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and if we don't, we should be doing that. What does it look like for us down the road, when empty nesters or whatever that is? And I always had it on my mind to create a property management company. And so about 4 years ago, I moved from South Bay up to North County, and just a change of life, all about experiences, sold my properties, and I essentially invested in some other investment items and let my money work for me. And I'm renting right now.
Got it.
And I'm renting right by the beach. It's great experience for my daughter. And I started to have some of these experiences as a renter that didn't feel very good.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, this is. I think it's time. I said, okay. I said, I think we can do this better. And we can do this better by better communication, more efficiency, et cetera, and so on. And so I called Barrick, my buddy, at the time. I said, hey, I want to start this, and here we go. And are you on board? He says, I am. I said, cool, we start tomorrow.
What?
And I said, here's the name.
I got his shirt.
Yeah, here's why. Here, read this book, whatever. And he's awesome. He says, I'm on board. And so it really was that kind of conversation. But of course, then we said, okay, what does this look like and how do we move forward? And it's really unique for me because I get to talk to future residents or tenants and say, hey, I'm a renter too right now.
Yeah.
And I understand you, and we're here for you, and we're going to take care of you, and we're going to treat you like family. So we have this fiduciary obligation, obviously, to our property owners, that have properties and assets and so forth. And we do that very well and very professionally. But at the same time, we make sure that we treat our tenants the way they deserve to be treated. Right?
Gotcha.
And it's unique because I get to share that experience that, hey, I got you. I'm in the same boat.
This is a total leading by example.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
You got to go through it to understand, what people are looking for. So you're really putting yourselves in the people's shoes.
I am.
And that's so important in what we do. And, that's similar tactics that we utilize, right? Like people just don't know any better. They need the true professional that's going to provide them that guidance and just kind of set them off with their families. Because I'm sure you don't just represent a single person, a single woman or man. There's families that you're representing.
Yeah, there's families. Yeah.
And more than anything, I mean, everybody, by default gets a little bit scared once they're making big decisions. So more than anything, reassuring them with that confidence, I think that's the biggest thing because they feel like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. I feel like I know that I want to do that, but he really knows how to get down. So I'm going to trust him because, hey, I don't know any better. And then the way that you deliver that and the way that you make them feel, I think then that's the key when they're like, yeah, this is our guy. This is the person we trust asset or house with.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, it's the first initial conversation. I say, hey, look, I know this is a weird conversation. we're going to get into this very intimate relationship about your assets or your property, and you have to trust me, and I have to trust you. And it's like this blind marriage.
Yes.
Right. And like we're being set up, and we don't even know each other, kind of thing. And it's always an icebreaker because I'm vulnerable and I'm open and transparent with these folks. And I said, so let's talk about it. What questions do you have, and what can I answer? What have you asked other property management companies? And if you haven't, call them and talk to them. And then you call us back if you're still interested. So this is how this works, and here's how we fulfill our duty for you. And so it's unique, and so people have to trust their property manager, like literally right off the bat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we leave people out though; they can cancel the contract if they want. We have full confidence.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's more like you guys are, and I like that the way that you put it. It's more like you guys are going into a relationship rather than going into a contract.
Yeah.
Like it's open. It's not like, hey, if you don't abide by this, well, let's be open about it. Let's have the communication two ways. If something goes wrong, how do we address it, and how do we fix it and continue to move forward instead of hounding them and being on top of them, and that's nobody wants to work like that.
No, there's something that we always share with, and in fact, I wrote a book about it. It's called Serving Without Selling. What being a firefighter taught me about business, and we talk to our folks just openly. We say, look, I'm not every conversation. I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to serve you.
Nice.
And it's the whole concept in the fire department. And I think if anybody does that in business, and you guys certainly model that as well, is when you're serving your clients, right? They're going to refer people and so forth. But the way you make them feel, like you talked about, is paramount, and that's what creates a successful business. And that's what creates a successful family around business.
Absolutely,
right?
man.
So yeah, we always are serving.
That's awesome. It's all about culture. You want to build that culture. You want to build it with the right people, whether it's just going to be tenants, because obviously you guys have to do all the back end research in them, correct? It's not like I just come in and, hey, do you have that apartment? What does that look like when somebody comes to you?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's something super important to make sure that, property owners ask the property management company, how do you do backgrounds and what do you do? Something unique about anything that we do in property management, I'm sure everybody can relate to, is that there are so many laws out there. There are so many laws, and there's new laws that are coming into effect this year of all kinds of things. And, one of them is about you have to provide the credit, a credit report to people within 7 days. Okay, maybe not too hard. You have to be able to, potentially, depending on the situation, report. They have to be able to report their rent income for the credit bureaus.
Yeah.
You have to give out there before or why at the same time that they apply. You have to provide the rental criteria. Okay.
Wow.
And if you don't, the DRE will come down on you. And these are just simple ones, right? There's a bunch of other things, and I could go on and on about that. It would probably scare all these property owners out there. And that's never the goal. The goal is to educate. And I talk to property owners sometimes. Say, I'll share this stuff with you.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it on your own, best of luck.
Gotcha.
But so our application process is pretty intense, and it's an application process and then a background as well. And we do things like employment check, current and past, or former landlord verification, and rent history, and those kinds of things. We do criminal background. We do a credit check, obviously, and then we have our folks sign these basically release forms that our attorney have drafted up for us, so we can legally ask these questions. Sometimes we get these phone calls from owner managers, we call them, and they've got themselves in hot water, and we help navigate them out of that. And so that's a value, whether somebody uses us or not. The value of a good property manager is navigating these waters for these folks, so you can find the right tenants legally and do it the right way, and at the same time follow the fair housing rules and don't discriminate and do what's right and all that.
Correct.
Because you see that side of it too sometimes from folks where they're discriminating, and they shouldn't be. I don't want my mom discriminated against. So we don't do that. We follow fair housing because it's a right thing to do, and those laws are in place for a reason. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into the application process and the background and what that looks like. And then ultimately what we do is after that process gets completed, we essentially present the information to the owners, and we let them sort of decide. There's a new law, though. It's first come, first served, basically. It's a short version of it in California.
Gotcha.
But if you have everybody applied at the same time, then you can evaluate all the applications at the same time and pick the most qualified person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and so you just mentioned fair housing. Yeah. You mentioned the DRE. Who are they, or what do they do?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Department of Real Estate in California, what they do, they basically regulate everything for us, right? In terms of laws, compliancy, ethics, and those kinds of things it's very important in our industry because people get away from it. I'm sure folks have read the newspapers or read stuff online or seen the news where there's all kinds of things that take place that's unethical sort of thing.
Gotcha.
And so they keep us on track. And a lot of owners that manage their own properties, they don't know these things.
Of course.
And unfortunately, even some other folks that aren't in our business don't know these things or stay abreast. And you have to stay informed. And so the way that we do that is we're part of the NARPM. It's called the National Association of Residential Property Managers. And,
that's powerful.
Yeah,
that's like a certification above another certification.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a nurse having their CPR certification or this. You get them, but this is like way up there, right?
And that's a great scenario, because in our business, and you do the same in mortgage sales, we have to stay current with what's going on. We have to be involved, and we talked about that earlier. And so the way to do that is become involved in these organizations. And so I was very fortunate and blessed to be part of the process to pick the new president for the national president, vice president, and the regional vice president. So very grateful to be able to experience that. But then what that created is these relationships and community and resources. And then San Diego has its own chapter, of course. And so that's where we get a lot of education from. We stay abreast of what's taking place, and then also our attorney sometimes will give us some information.
Nice. Nice. And I want to bring that up because it's just not like property management. You don't follow any rules. Like there's somebody that's just there's like that person that's regulating, like the principal. Hey, you can't go that route, and I'm sure you get audits too.
So property managers are audited the most out of anybody in our industry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. And so you guys going through all this process with the tenant, how is it so important to an owner? Like I have I have several properties. I don't want to come to you, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I already heard the why, but how is it so important for somebody, an investor, to come to you?
Yeah, I think it's important to make sure they navigate and their assets and their property to make sure that in the long run they're protected. And it's not just about managing property; it's about asset management. And that comes along with a lot of different items or components and features of protecting that asset or those assets. And it's about a team. Like I have a team of people. I have you. I have a bunch of other folks in the industry. I have different vendors, and from 1031 exchange. I mean, you name it. Because of what we do and how long we've been doing it and the relationships we built, we bring that, and that's pretty powerful for an investor or even for a single family owner kind of thing. And we believe that, especially in California, it's super important to have an SME, subject matter expert or fiduciary, to make sure they're protected. We could do a whole segment about an hour just about laws, and most people probably be really afraid.
Yeah.
And we navigate that, right?
But it's so true.
Yeah, those are our years of experience and so forth to make sure they're protected. And owners get in trouble often. And it's unfortunate.
Go ahead.
No. One of the things that I was going to bring up is you speak a lot about, you have systems, and, a regular, homeowner that, let's say owns 3 properties, they don't have those systems, or it's very likely that they don't have those systems. So if they get a call like around, middle of the night, you probably have a system in place that's going to take care of that. Whereas a homeowner, he's like, I probably won't answer till the morning, So I think that was very, very powerful that you highlighted that, because, homeowners don't know what they don't know. So they're just going to, what makes sense. And I think that's a huge layer of protection if you're a homeowner, to just consult with the property manager. If you're not going to hire them, at least, befriend one, and ask, the right questions, because later on you might be going to them and asking, hey, I got in trouble and I do need your services now.
I mean, that's such a great point, Brian. Like, man, these accidents happen. Things happen in the home.
It happens all the
I've
time.
had it where my, my water heater broke, and it was like 2-3 in the morning.
Always.
And I'm like, what the hell? I'm trying to find out, I'm trying to take the freaking, the boogers out of my eyes, trying to find out where the water shutoff is. Things that you deal with, right?
Yeah.
So I can't just imagine. How do you deal with a situation like that?
Yeah, so we have a full-time, obviously, we have 6 full-time people work for us, and we have a full-time maintenance company that basically integrates to our property, our property maintenance. And we utilize AI initially right off the bat. We have these algorithms, which is really cool to get things moving right away. And then we have these notifications that take place. We pay for it. It's not cheap, but it's the right thing to do.
Service.
Exactly.
It's a service. And then we have obviously humans and then help mitigate this stuff. And then we're involved. We're very involved owners. We're a boutique kind of property management company.
Oh, nice.
Our whole goal is not to get a bunch of properties. Our whole goal is to get the right properties.
Nice.
Our goal is not to be big. Our goal is to be great. And so we'll scale accordingly to make sure we continue to do that. But it's interesting because we've had those 2 a.m. calls. We've had those midnight calls. We've had all those things. And that's a part where we always encourage owners to investors to have a property manager because they don't have to worry about that. They can spend time with their family, sleeping, vacation, whatever that looks like for them, right? It's super important. And I tell you, one of those calls is worth a property manager. I tell you that right now, because there's a lot that goes into those things.
Yeah.
We have dealt with so many things, and it could be another show as well in our short stint so far, right? I'm sure even throughout the years there's going to be more, but we've dealt with tenants that have been divorcing and been involved in all that stuff and had to get attorneys involved and all those things, and still make sure we do that with kindness and love.
Yeah.
And that particular situation worked out great, and we were very empathetic. But at the same time, I'm telling you, it was extremely challenging. And the emails we would be part of through the divorce stuff, and we asked not to be part of it, and all these things that came up. And we've been involved in all kinds of different things I could share. Where if you're an owner or an investor, you don't want to deal with that stuff.
No, here's the thing. There's certain, I have my strengths and weaknesses, right? Yeah. And if I have to say, property management is my weakness. Yeah. That's my kryptonite. Yeah. Why do I want to focus on my weaknesses? I'd rather make sure that somebody else is doing that for me, and I can have the peace of mind of going to sleep when I want to and waking up when I want to, right? I don't have to worry about if freaking, a washer messed up in there and the tenants call. Like, you deal with it. Thank you, Rich.
Yeah, exactly. It's just our Rolodex alone with our vendors, we validate and vet them.
Yeah.
Right? And we continue to do that. We don't just say, okay, now you're one of our vendors, Will.
You're locked in.
That's great.
Yeah.
You're locked in. And we continue. We treat it like it's our asset or our property. And, that looks a little bit high. We saw that come through. Yeah. You sure can you lower that price? We literally do that. And we send out one of our handyman first because usually they could be it's a little bit better price than, say, a company relative to what it is. Yeah. But just our vendors alone, rather than you hear about these folks that are investors or owners and they are on Google and they're doing this and that, whatever else, and they're paying an arm and a leg and not getting the service they deserve or maybe completion of the job like the way it should be done. And that's a value, whether somebody uses us or not. But just property management in general, if you have a good one, that's a huge value.
Got it. So when you're saying property management, are we just talking about California? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, that's a good question. For us, we specialize in San Diego County and Riverside County.
Gotcha.
So that's what we do. And we primarily focus on long-term management for single-family residents from 1 unit all the way up to 15 units.
Oh,
okay.
Nice. Okay, wow.
So sometimes there's investors, which brings me to the next question here. There's an investor, I need to sell this because I'm just tired of, or maybe my ROI, my rate of an investment isn't what I want. So I'm going to 1031 exchange it to a different state or something like that. Is that something that you guys assist with?
Yeah, absolutely. Part of our network, we have 1031 exchange folks and those kinds of things. And in terms of getting another property with our Rolodex, and you all have the same thing on mortgage shares. We were talking about that earlier. We know other people because of the networks we're in, the groups we're in, the communities we're in. Mm-hmm. So we can find them a validated and vetted agent or broker that's going to do really good work for them. So we can definitely help them with that. We won't personally do it or professionally do it, but we know we can find somebody for them.
Gotcha.
That just happened to one of our clients, and they went as a Kentucky. So through our network, we were able to give a referral to a Kentucky agent, and they were super happy.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah. It's all about being a resource. And one thing that I've noticed in life, Rich, is, when people say, hey, I can help you out with that. They open up the doors. We're so hesitant to open that door again, because we're like, I think Rich is going to be busy, so I don't know that I want to, But it's like I've noticed as I've gotten younger, I keep it positive, but as I gotten younger, it's like, I'm going to use that resource. Like, don't ever tell a Hispanic, mi casa, su casa, because I will be there at your house,
Let's
right?
go.
So I like that you guys are using your resources and you're just making a bigger thing, and not only that, but you guys are inspiring within your department, fire department. You guys are giving this inspiration and this vision to all your fellow, I'm going to say comrades, because they all fight the battle with you.
Yeah. And in fact, we have quite a few firefighters that trust us to manage their property around many different departments.
Wow.
So up and down the state. Yeah, because they know how we show up. They know how firefighters show up and the work
trust
ethic.
is there.
And we're so particular about things and so meticulous. We pay attention to detail, and they know we're always going to work hard. So we get a lot of those folks as clients.
So with so much that already happened in the first month of 2025, I'm very, very, optimistic that it's going to be an abundant year. What are some of your 2025 goals?
Yeah, that's a great question. So professionally for us, so we're already doing that right now. So talking about earlier that we're sort of this boutique, right? We don't want to be the biggest. We want to be great, right? But we want to scale and grow. And for us, we're doing that. We're sort of going from a teenager to an adult right now, company-wise. Yeah,
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and it's fun, it's exciting, right? And so with that comes systemizing even more, creating a better process and programs and those kinds of things for tenants, for owners. We just launched our new website yesterday. In fact, it just came out, 33pmg.com. Hopefully we can put it up here.
Yeah.
Of course, it's on your shirt. I like that. I like that you put it on your shirt. You know, that was very clever.
Thank you. So that's our goal right now is we actually hired more employees and we make less money right now as owners, which is totally fine because we're in that scale process. So we know that the better and bigger team we build, the better we can serve as owners and better we can serve as a company. So our vision and our mission is just that in 2025. So we're not trying to circle anything around and get into certain numbers. We're trying to circle everything around service. And for us, the 2025 goals is the new websites, a new system, new maintenance program and software, a new team there, hiring a back-end person. It's all those kinds of things of everything that circles around scaling your business to be effective. We don't want to lose, and we will not lose that boutique touch where we are a property management company that answers the phone. We have somebody hired full time. All they do is answer the phone. They say, a little snippet here, 84% of people are dissatisfied with their current property manager. And 84%. And the reason we think for that is because there's not efficient communication or effective communication. And so if we miss a call, whatever, we have things set up that say automatic text, hey, sorry, we're in a meeting, we're in the field, because we are.
Yeah.
I'm leaving here today to go take a new property and walk it and those kinds of things. And then we get back to him or one of our front office person does.
Yeah.
And we are so quick. We take phone calls after hours. We take phone calls on the weekends. And typically it's us, the owners.
Yeah.
So we truly have this connection with our owners of like your family. You can call anytime you want.
Wow.
I really admire that. You know, it's like purpose over profit.
Amen. Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating, and you all know this, when you put purpose over profit, your profit comes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, totally.
100%.
So you're going with this. What kind of trends are you starting to see in the rental market?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's so many thoughts about the rental market right now, and there's so much I think to come in 2025. We have a new administration. It would be you know, we'd have to you have to say that's going to affect the economy, real estate, and those kinds of things. But we don't know yet, right? Certainly, we have seen sort of the rent kind of coagulate where it goes kind of just like this sort of thing. You know, we saw the big boom like this and COVID and all this. Rent's high.
Yeah,
you know, it's a bummer for a lot of tenants, and it's good for a lot of owners. But there's got to be this medium space, right?
Yeah.
Where to go? What we are seeing right now is that more applicants are saying are asking for deals.
Yeah.
Hey, if I rent for longer, 2 years, can I get a better rent price? If I do this, can I do that? And so you see a lot of that. Hey, I see the property out there for $4,000. Would the owner take $3,800? And depending on the situation, we always communicate that with the owners and so forth. You know, we'll ask before what their leader's intent is for us to serve them as their fiduciary. But then, we'll go back and talk to them, and sometimes the owners will take that, or take a less amount in that scenario, kind of thing.
Right.
So we're seeing more of that right now.
Gotcha.
But we're not seeing like huge drop and those kinds of things. Not a huge increase, kind of the coagulation, like you'd see in a stock kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the age group that you've seen? You know, because like with us, it's like. I don't know if you know this, Rich. We were just talking on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, but the average new buyer now is 38 years old.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Right? So what do you see in the rental?
You know, there's a lot of people that are renting right now. I think from our perspective, in terms of the conversation we hear a lot is I'm waiting. I'm waiting for rates to go down. I know you all hear the same thing. But I know you guys have great programs too and can do some different things. And that's the value when they talk to you. Oh, I can't afford that because of this. The value in being able to, do mortgages, and I think it's 40 plus,
Well, so we qualify based on income. How do you guys, you were mentioning earlier that you guys also have to do verification of employment and stuff. So how do you guys, is there a certain qualification that goes with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so there's a lot of things that go along with that. And so it's not the same as sort of, you would sort of see like, in the mortgage, I don't know if it's still started the 3% or the 3 times the.
Yeah. More or less, it's all debt to income ratio.
We don't go based on
we want to make sure
ratio.
that, they can go in there and they don't have to stick to the dollar. Well, there is no dollar menu at the McDonald's, right?
value
but
menu
it's a
now.
value,
It just
but,
came back.
But it's not top ramen for the rest of your 4 or 5 years until we see the administration pick up or what have you, right?
No
So
kidding.
what does that look like with you guys?
It's a great question. So we do the same thing. We do a debt to income ratio.
Okay.
And in California, there's a law, and one of the laws is called, this is through fair housing, it's called the ability to pay. And so the way we look at that is we do the debt to income ratio, which is inclusive of their bills and of what their rent would be, and that kind of stuff. The same thing that you guys do.
Right.
And then we take other things into consideration as well. Credit can't be a sole consideration in California anymore. A lot of people think that it can, and it cannot. It's ability to pay. Nice. And so as long as people have the ability to pay, we typically, when people rent, what we see, I think, typically is around about two times the rent.
Got it.
Is kind of the thing. And then once in a while, actually I take that back, quite a few lately, we've been seeing about 3 times the rent.
Yeah.
Because we're getting people that are waiting. So that's how it kind of works in the rental market.
That's crazy. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. And again, this is all new information, right? I mean, we're all just so good at what we do, and it's just I'm grateful that you're sharing this information. So tell me, I'm going to actually switch a little gears here. You know what I mean? And I know I'm the kind of person, I've rented before, but my thing was my landlord wouldn't do crap for us.
Yeah.
So what I had to do was invest my own money. And I remember back in the day, early 90s, that green rug, dark green was in. And so I freaking recarpeted without requesting really anything, and then there was popcorn ceiling. I took that off. I'm sure I would say decent taste, but I'm sure there's other people that their DIY is not what you may say. Have you ever seen any of that happen?
We have, yeah. It's interesting. We go back to when my mom rent this place. And we also want to make sure that our owners and investors are not overspending in what they don't need to spend on. And so there's this balance there. And we have quite a few properties that we just want to manage. And the reason we want to manage them is not so much the aesthetic look, but it's like, hey, there's a big hole in the carpet right there.
Yeah.
There's a big stain over there. The carpet's coming up. You're not going to replace that. We're probably not going to fit for you, and we wish you the best.
I see.
So that's how we handle some of those extreme things. Say there's a hole in the wall. Yeah, I'm not going to fix that. Well, okay, then that's not what we call rent ready kind of thing, right? So, and then there's majority of the owners will take sort of our recommendations and sometimes go above and beyond about what we'd say, hey, to rent this out and get more for your buck because the property down the street doesn't have X, Y, or Z. And if you did these things, you probably rent out before them and probably a little bit more. And so we do that a lot with folks, but the ones you're sort of talking about is we don't take every rental. So that's the power of being in the position we're in, where we just want to make sure we work with really quality owners and investors.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to bring up, and there was 2 words that stuck with me. Earlier when we were talking here before we got on the podcast, and you mentioned you were in a band called Impacto.
Yeah.
And then you also brought up that you have a mastermind group called Junto. So, translation, it's impact and together. What does those words mean to you? And why did you choose those 2 words exactly?
Wow, you guys are great interviewers. Your questions, how deep you go and thoughtful. Like, it's just amazing.
We're just digging into the soul, my brother.
I love it.
We want to see it,
Keep it coming, man. Man, genius around here. Yeah, impact is something that's always been part of my personal mission. Is to make a difference, have my life make a difference on this planet. And my difference will look different from yours and so forth. And that's literally my part of my mission, vision, purpose. I have those for my own personal life. And so part of that's being a firefighter and so forth. But if we can make an impact, and I don't do this every day. It's like I'm not walking around being this perfect person that makes impacts and positive impact. But I do my best, and that word impact or impacto is super important for me to do, to make some type of positive impact, and be the role model for my daughter and show her how we show up for people and humanity and to do the good things. And, and all that stuff comes along with life. I could talk about forever. When we fall down, we get back up. Junto. Yeah, so that mastermind name came from, I stole that from Benjamin Franklin. He had, his group was called Junto. And many years ago when they would meet and created all what they created for society. And their whole concept was to, if you ever read anything about Benjamin Franklin, is to make the world a better place.
Nice.
And how they created hospitals and fire department and so on and so forth, right? And so it's a positive reminder of like, hey, do what we can to make a difference. That group, Junto Mastermind, essentially has folks from all different types of businesses and backgrounds, and it's really cool. It's heart-centered, and essentially we are there to help each other get more business and then help each other in life as well. And there's different exercises we do. I do one called the hot seat. We do all these kinds of things that are really powerful, and it's really awesome because these group of folks, where they're validated and vetted. So, excuse me, if you need, somebody in there that's a contractor, or you need a contractor, I got somebody in my group. It's a personal group of a Rolodex of just like-minded champions, and then we grow that with people that we want to have in the group, right? Not just anybody gets in the group, because you have to be able to add value. And so that's sort of being together. Is when you're together, we add value, right? When you do something in a group, you can be that much more powerful, kind of thing.
It's crazy because the generosity in your voice makes me tremble. Like I get the chills, but it's very admirable because if you put it together, it's like impacto junto, impact together.
Yeah. Deep, man. I love it, man.
No, I love it, man. And so I know we're getting close to the hour. We would love to extract more information. You have a lot to do as well. But I'm telling you, Rich, it's impressive what you're doing. It's just, for me, not only have you been a hero with the fire department for 30 years, but, we have a hero since you were born, because these are talents that people have. This is something that comes naturally to you, and you just put it out there. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate that I've actually come into your life, you know what I mean? And they always say, there is a saying in Spanish, dime con quién te juntas para decirte quién eres, which translates, tell me who you hang out with so I can tell you who you are. And I'm telling you, I'm better off because I have the right people around me. And my success is junto, right?
Yes.
And we're juntos, we're impacting people out there. Yeah. And that's what our goal is. And that's why we want you here, because I know you're going to be very impactful and very successful. You're already successful in just the short amount of time that you've been doing the property management, And so I'm just happy to be able to share this. And I want to ask you, is there anything that I could have asked you that we did not?
No, I think you guys were fantastic. Yeah, I feel very grateful to be on here. Your kind words are very humbling. What a great opportunity just to connect with some like-minded champions. Hopefully everybody out there got some value out of this in some aspect. And if you didn't, and you have more questions about property management, contact us, free. You can call our phone number, ask for me, or look us up at 33pmg.com. And there's all kinds of resources on our website as well. And so we're just here to serve and help out.
And again, we're going to make sure that we put all their information. Obviously, this handsome guy already has it on his shirt right there, and it's that www.33pmg.com. That's where we'll find him. And just look at his new and improved website. I mean, it looks great. I love how you put the little helmets of the fire department helmets in there to specify what you guys are doing and which category, what category means what. It's pretty cool. Just click on that and let's see. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool, right, Bree?
Nah, it was amazing. And just hearing your story, I mean, this is the first time I ever met you. I feel like I know you for my whole life. And my whole life was just when you guys met. So it's crazy. But, it really just, shines a light on a lot of things that you really mentioned about, it's all about being together. It's all about caring about another one. It's all about, each one teach one, each one help one out. And more than anything, it was really refreshing hearing your story. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And, I'm looking forward to hearing, more stories, man. I feel like, we could just keep going, but, everybody has to go back to their life. But, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. And to the people at home, thank you so much for, the support into 2025. Last year was a great year. And I know this year for a lot of families and a lot of, clients out there is going to be, a very good year. I'm very positive on that. I know it's going to be abundance for everyone. So, stick with the right people. Your environment is who you are. And that's it for me. You guys want to say
and the last thing is, don't take these property management into your own hands. Hire the right people. They will keep you out of litigation, out of the court system, because I know that's not fun. And here you are. Here's a resource right here. It's more than vetted. Give them a call. Don't hesitate.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Here to serve.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.
Mortgage Heroes out. We'll see ya.
Later, guys.
If you like this video and like to subscribe, click here. And if you want to watch other videos, click here.